After Luo Feng found out about the three natural abilities and understood that he could return, he was in a good mood. Deities of the world and absolute space? Luo Feng immediately thought of what he saw before, the effects and training requirements of these two techniques. Absolute space was an extremely sick technique, the kind that would make people go crazy in the universe. It was just that only the Golden Horn Beast could directly learn it. The technique had a total of 3 levels. The first level was called Arc of Light. The second level was called Myriad Changes. The third level was called Teleportation. To learn this technique, the most important requirements were crazy training and comprehension. Only after training many times can one gradually understand it, and only after accumulating enough can one comprehend it. This technique's main point was to instantly increase one's speed. According to the theory of the technique, even if you step into the universe level 1 stage, assuming you can fly at a maximum speed of 500 kilometers per second. However, that requires a long enough distance to continuously accelerate, only then can you reach that maximum speed. And that instantaneous burst of speed is far less than 500 kilometers per second. During battle, the most important thing is instantaneous burst of speed. Instant forward, instant turn, instant stop, instant retreat. This theory Luo Feng understood too. Just like a sports car on the highway, maybe it can reach a maximum speed of 300 kilometers per hour, but starting for 0.1 seconds, how fast can it go? Accelerating to its maximum speed requires time. Humans can start faster than sports cars. But instantaneous burst of speed is still far less than maximum flying speed. Teleportation. Luo Feng teleportation. Babata was very excited. Your teacher is an undying fighter, yet he can't teleport. That's why. Luo Feng said helplessly, this absolute space is very hard to train. Even a powerful fighter like the master of the UNMO planet couldn't teleport, one could only imagine how hard it was. And the technique also said, the first level with enough hard work there's hope of training. The second level, passed down from generation to generation of Golden Horn Beasts, even though the Golden Horn Beast's lifespan is 10 times longer than a human sector lord's. However, those who train absolute space mostly hover around the second level, those who can reach the second level, myriad changes are few and far between. The third level, teleportation? That's practically a legend. Very, very difficult. Hard work, comprehension, opportunities, etc. all require it. Luo Feng, you don't understand how precious it is. Babata said anxiously. What kind of secret technique is this? Was it simply a matter of explosive speed? No. This was a secret technique that allowed you to comprehend and experience the laws of space in the universe. Your teacher doesn't have this secret art, so he has been working hard on it. If I have this secret skill, I'm afraid I'll be able to obtain the incredible ability of teleportation. Once you have the ability to teleport, it'll be hard for anyone to kill you. If your teacher knew this move, he wouldn't have died. Babata hastily said. Luo Feng laughed. I said it's hard to learn, but I didn't say it's impossible. Oh haha. Babata laughed heartily. Luo Feng, this technique doesn't just make your movements incomparably sick. Moreover, the flying speed would also be increased. Besides, once it's combined with a deity of the world, a deity of the world is even more insane than absolute space. He was indeed a freak. Luo Feng was very clear on the training requirements and effects of deities of the world. This set of secret techniques was one of the 18 special secret techniques in the inherited memories. In terms of value, usefulness, and efficiency, it was indeed stronger than the previous absolute space. However, the 18 special techniques, although they were called special techniques, didn't mean that all of them were stronger than the normal techniques. It just meant that the training requirements for these 18 special techniques were very harsh. How were they harsh? 1. They required complex training requirements. If some of the requirements weren't met, no matter how much hard work one put in, it wouldn't work. 2. There were shortcuts. But the requirements for shortcuts were as hard as ascending to the heavens. 3. Only the Golden Horn Beast could train them. If the 3,199 normal techniques were created by the Golden Horn Beast through generations, or by borrowing from the human race, automaton race and countless other races' techniques. The techniques themselves could only be trained by the Golden Horn Beast, but these techniques were mostly borrowed from other races. The other races had similar techniques too, even though there were some differences, the differences weren't too big. However, these 18 special techniques were something that only the Golden Horn Beast could train in. Even if they were to spread, the other races wouldn't be able to adapt or train them. Deities of the world was also split into 3 levels. The first level was considered a small success. The second level was considered a large success. As for the third level, that was the final level. To put it bluntly, Deities of the world was a special technique that allowed the Golden Horn Beast to grow or shrink. Shrinking and enlarging were both terrifying abilities. For example, the Golden Horn Beast was 180 m long. When it shrank, its weight wouldn't change, causing its density to increase greatly. Bone density increased. Muscle density increased. Their claws and horns became even sharper and harder. A punch with 100 kilograms of strength. Compared to a needle with 100 kilograms of strength, the difference in power was like heaven and earth. The moment it shrank, the Golden Horn Beast's claws would become even more terrifying, its horns' penetrative power even more shocking. Was it shrinking or growing? Growing wouldn't increase one's battle strength, but a 30 kilometers tall giant could casually take a step, and a normal human of the same strength wouldn't be able to outrun it. The advantage of growing was flying even faster. The 180 m long golden horned beast, after shrinking to 1800 m, was like a floating island. Its scaled wings were 10 times larger than before. Each time it flapped, its speed would be much faster. The first level of Deities of the world allowed one's body to grow and shrink by 3 times. The highest strength it could reach was 3 times. The second level allowed it to reach 9 times. The strength could increase by 9 times. The third level? It had already reached the stage where it could grow as it wished. Its strength could at most increase by 36 times. Shrinking by 36 times, 100 times, 1000 times, the strength wouldn't change. Because to be able to increase its strength by 36 times was already the limit of this technique. If it shrank any further, its body strength would also shrink, causing its battle strength to be unable to increase. Of course, even though it was said to be able to grow as it wished, it couldn't be infinitely bigger or smaller. The legendary limit was 10,000 times, which meant that a 10 kilometers long golden horned beast could be as small as 1 m, as large as 100,000 kilometers. Of course, the difficulty of the third level of Deities of the world was even harder than the third level of absolute space. According to the inherited memories, only the creator of this technique, the golden horned beast, had reached the third level. As for the others, countless years and generations of golden horned beasts, none of them had been able to reach the third level. Throughout history, most of the golden horned beasts were at the first level. Even reaching the second level was very rare. Because this technique was really sick, causing even the heavens to be jealous. For example, the Sector Lord level 9 warriors that dominated the universe, their battle strength reached a limit. Most of them didn't have much of a difference, only a few were stronger. However, Deities of the world could cause the golden horned beast, from its original limit, to increase its strength by a few times. How could it not cause the heavens to be jealous? After all, the golden horned beast itself had a natural talent, the strengthening technique. LuoFeng, of your 3 natural talents, one is the training technique, devour. The second is the battle technique, strengthening. The third is the life-saving technique, clone. Babata said. Back then when the golden horned beast was heavily injured by the B6 laser cannon, it activated the strengthening talent and its speed immediately exploded. The golden horn's attack power also exploded. Since it was a talent, the degree of strengthening wouldn't change. The strengthening talent, along with Deities of the world shrinking, can cause your battle strength to double. The strengthening talent, along with Deities of the world enlarging, can cause your flying speed to double. Babata exclaimed, and absolute space is your dodging and escaping technique. Also, absolute space starts out as a dodging technique, but later on it becomes a comprehension of the laws of space. As long as your comprehension deepens, your flying speed will increase even more. The trajectory and power of the golden horned shots will also increase greatly. That's why the strengthening talent and these 2 great techniques can complement each other. In order to maximize the effect, Babata said. Sick. Babata couldn't help but to exclaim, too sick. LuoFeng laughed. It was indeed very sick. This also caused these 2 techniques to be very hard to train. Absolute space was still alright. Even though it was hard to train, most of the golden horned beasts in the past were able to enter the second level. But Deities of the world was straightforward, so many golden horned beasts were stuck at the first level. However, LuoFeng was very clear. Too sick would cause the heavens to be jealous. That's why the golden horned beasts were extremely rare, even fewer than the undying beings. And in the universe, there were a total of 12 bloodlines of space beasts like the golden horned beast. And among the countless races, there were some special life forms with special techniques that wouldn't be any worse than the golden horned beast. Even humans, 1, had their numbers and 2, they had many techniques. Just LuoFeng's teacher, the master of the Unimo planet, had the soul imprint technique, which was very sick. It could control powerful warriors to become his slaves. Your talent is good? Alright, I'll take advantage of your weakness and use the soul imprint to implant your soul, making you my loyal slave. No matter how high your talent is, you'll only be my fighter, my bodyguard. That's why. LuoFeng was very clear that he couldn't underestimate any warrior. And the golden horned beast had 3 talents. One of them was the training talent, swallow. It could swallow large amounts of metal into its internal world. It had a certain area of effect. Even life forms weaker than itself could be swallowed and killed. However, if there was a threat, the internal world would automatically stop swallowing. For example, the large amount of metal Hong released or a bundle of nuclear bombs. The battle talent, enhance, caused one's speed and battle strength to instantly rise. Of course, the price wasn't small. The life-saving talent, clone, allowed the Star Traveler level to have 1 clone, the Universe level could have a second, and the Sector Lord level could have a third. Which also meant, the Golden Horned Beast could only have 3 clones in its lifetime. And each clone existed alone, training by itself. To these extremely rare, almost extinct races, the universe was very fair, giving them life-saving talents. Like the Ice Mountain Beast of the 12 bloodlines, its life-saving talent was transformation. It could change into any form. The natural life-saving technique, the clone, could be considered a second body and not just a simple puppet. The clone needed to be nurtured within the internal world, just like a woman giving birth to a child, just like the legendary universe egg that gave birth to Pangu. One theory, it needed to be nurtured within the internal world, gradually turning the clone into an embryo, step by step until it was fully grown. The Golden Horned Beast could have 3 more bodies in its life. Star Traveler level had 1, Universe level had the second, Sector Lord had the third. As the clone could also slowly train, there was no doubt that the first body to be nurtured was the most important. Hence, the chosen bloodline was of course important. For example, the first clone of the golden horned beast would usually choose a very good bloodline. As the requirements to nurture the embryo were very low, a strand of hair or a drop of blood etc. would do as long as it contained the genetic material. LuoFeng, are you sure you want to use the first clone to nurture a human from Earth? Babata couldn't help but ask, you only need a strand of hair to nurture. In the future you can definitely find humans with powerful bloodlines like the Manka people etc. It's very hard to possess, but finding a strand of their hair is very easy, changing their appearance to look like you, it's too easy. I'm sure. The first clone will be a human from Earth. LuoFeng said, and it will be nurtured using my own genetic material. Nurturing the clone was very demanding. Because, in the future when the body is nurtured, if the appearance of the golden horned beast appeared, the other body would have to enter the internal world. And those not nurtured from the internal world, would be killed the moment they entered. Unless they reached the sector lord level, the internal world would be completely like the outside world, only then would they be able to let living humans enter. Back then, the golden horned beast probably decided that the humans of Earth or the monsters of Earth weren't worth its 3 clones, hence it didn't nurture them. And LuoFeng immediately began. Within the golden horned beast's body, the transparent crystal ball, which had a diameter of more than 20 centimeters and was covered with countless mysterious golden patterns, emitted rays of golden light. This transparent crystal ball was known as the origin core, also known as the starry sky origin core, the world origin core, and the soul origin core. This core was where the golden horned beast's core was. Even if its head was blown off, its body exploded. As long as the core and soul were fine, it wouldn't die. Within the core, it was as vast as the starry sky, and in its center, there was a dazzling sphere that looked like a star slowly rotating. This was formed when LuoFeng absorbed his teacher's soul imprint and swallowed the golden horned beast's soul. This sphere that resembled a star was the soul core. This represented LuoFeng's spirit energy had reached the star level 1 stage. As for the golden horned beast's genetic energy, it was gathered on the golden horn on its forehead. The golden horn was the hardest part of the golden horned beast, and also the place where origin power was stored. Therefore, when it used its innate secret technique, its golden horn would be the first to light up. Internal world. When LuoFeng's soul was 100% in sync with his body, he too felt. There seemed to be an invisible connection between the vast space inside the original core and another world. Within the inner world. This was an independent continent that was about 10 kilometers long and wide. The area 10 kilometers above the continent was filled with golden fog, and the continent itself was also golden. There were some hills and mountains on the continent, but they were all made of metal. This was a world of metal. The world LuoFeng controlled. Babata, release my body from before. LuoFeng used a thread of spirit energy to connect with Babata from the outside world, and using his swallowing talent, he immediately swallowed his own body. On one of the hills of the metal continent, a body appeared out of thin air. That was LuoFeng's body. As a Star Traveler level 3 fighter, 1 to 2 months of time, his body had only stiffened and turned green and cold. As for the various items on his body, they had all been removed long ago. Cloud Contact Vine? As he couldn't enter the storage space, he had been guarding it from the outside. Talent clone, nurture. LuoFeng's thoughts moved. Rumble. The entire metal continent shook. LuoFeng's body seemed to be supported by a formless energy, floating in the air above the metal continent. This was one of only 3 chances the golden horned beast had in its entire life. The internal world could only be used a second time once it reached the universe level. Right now, LuoFeng had already unleashed the talent he could only use once, and began to nurture his clone. Chi, almost like he was vaporized. The floating LuoFeng's body immediately vaporized. Hoo! Originally high above the metal continent, outside the continent, countless amounts of golden mist madly rushed towards the center, swiftly wrapping around LuoFeng's body after it vaporized. In an instant, it became an oval-shaped golden egg. It's begun. After LuoFeng found out about his talent, clone, he naturally knew some information. The amount of time required to nurture a body depended on his own strength and the genes of the body. The stronger the internal world, the faster the nurturing. And the lower the genes, the easier it was to nurture. And LuoFeng's current star level 1 internal world, the nurturing speed wasn't that fast. Some of the more powerful races with higher bloodlines might require hundreds or even thousands of years to nurture. Why did it take so long? Because nurturing a clone wasn't like giving birth to a baby. For example, the Sector Lord Golden Horned Beast, using a Sector Lord human's hair to nurture a body, that would be the body of a Sector Lord warrior. Genes completely duplicated. Body completely duplicated. To train to the Sector Lord level, who knows how many tens of thousands of years. Nurturing for a few hundred years was already impressive. The prerequisite for nurturing was not being able to nurture someone stronger than himself. At most, it would be equivalent to his own strength. 1 day later. Looking at the progress, I should be able to nurture within 1 to 2 years. LuoFeng understood, when that time comes, he would have the exact same strength as before, his genes would be 99.99999% exactly the same. Only a very minute difference, this body was nurtured by the internal world, hence the genes would have very minute changes. However, even with DNA testing, one wouldn't be able to detect that tiny difference between the two bodies. In the universe space, a huge star was like a ball of fire, constantly emitting light and heat. A silver-gray universe ship swiftly flew past a meteorite with a diameter of about 5 kilometers. Within the ship. Within a resting room, a handsome middle-aged man sat in a chair with his eyes closed. The quantum computer on his wrist was glowing faintly. Obviously, this captain's consciousness had already entered the virtual universe network. The virtual universe network was an extremely powerful existence. The universe was incomparably vast. And through the virtual universe network, even if they were separated by tens of millions of light years, they would still be able to meet and interact within the virtual universe. That was 100% virtual. Ding. The quantum computer's light dimmed. The handsome middle-aged man opened his eyes. Even though I've spent quite a bit of money, I've finally bought a map of the Milky Way galaxy from 1,000,000 years ago. The handsome man was extremely excited. Close to 1,000 light years, that's only a millionth of the Silver Blue Empire's territory. Luckily, there were 2 planets with life in this area. 2 planets with life? This time we've really struck it rich. The closest planet is very close with the ship's sublight speed. It would take 2 years and 8 months. The second planet, however, would take 136 years. The handsome man was slightly dissatisfied. Even though his lifespan was over 10,000 years, spending over 100 years was already long enough. However, to be able to earn 2 planets with life, he would still be rich. 2 years and 8 months. Hopefully there will be some good goods to sell to the slave merchants for a huge sum. If there aren't any good goods when the time comes, I might as well sell the entire planet. The handsome man thought about it, his eyes gleaming. A planet with life, that was very expensive. Time passed. The internal world was nurturing a new body. Luo Feng began to study absolute space and deities of the world, using his claws to swallow large amounts of metal. Actually, swallowing relied on the core, hence whether it was his claws, mouth or tail, they could all be used to unleash the swallowing talent. The only thing was that the golden horned beast liked to use its mouth, and Luo Feng felt that using his claws was enough. And that adventure ship, flying in the universe, continuously headed towards the star field where Earth was. On Earth. September 12, 2060. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jiangnan No. 1 hospital behind me is the hospital where Yang Zhou's pride Luo Feng's wife, Su Xian, is in labor. Rumor has it that Su Xian's labor room is the hospital's most luxurious special room. Just the booking fee alone is 2 million Chinese dollars. Every month's rent is as high as 12 million Chinese dollars. If you add in the medical staff and maternity care fees etc., I estimate that Su Xian's monthly expenses at the hospital will reach tens of millions of Chinese dollars. Rumor has it, Jiangnan No. 1 hospital's director said that Luo Feng's wife will be given a 30% discount on her expenses at their hospital. Ladies and gentlemen in front of your televisions, our reporters have already arrived at Jiangnan No. 1 hospital. Rumor has it that Su Xian's labor is very likely to be in the next few days. And according to our internal information after asking the relevant doctors, we finally got some secret information. Rumor has it that Su Xian's pregnant as twins, the triplets before, that was just a rumor. September 15, 2060, 8:15 a.m. Su Xian was pushed into the delivery room. The number of media members outside Jiangnan No. 1 hospital was even more shocking. Even reporters from other countries had rushed here. One has to know, back then of the 8 heroes only Luo Feng's wife Su Xian was pregnant, and Luo Feng had sacrificed himself. Now that his child was about to be born, it naturally caught the attention of the entire world. Countless netizens from all over the world, even regular old men and women were all guessing. Luo Feng was already a genius to such an extent, then what about his child? What would happen in the future? Even though it wasn't born yet, Luo Feng's child had already become the center of attention. The golden horned beast, whose body had already reached 230 meters long, became a golden blur swiftly flashing in the ocean. It was training absolute space. Luo Feng, Luo Feng. Babata hurriedly shouted. What is it? Luo Feng stopped. His huge dark golden pupils had a hint of suspicion. Joyous news, extremely joyous news. Su Xian just gave birth to 2 children, both mother and child are safe. Your eldest son weighs 7 kilograms 6 tails, your second son weighs 6 kilograms 1 tails. Babata said excitedly. After becoming a swallowing beast, his strength rose quickly. However, after his soul and body were 100% compatible, Luo Feng's soul couldn't help but be affected by the bloodline of the swallowing beast that had been passed down from generation to generation. The brutality, savagery and coldness had affected him. Over half a year of living alone, the brutality within his bloodline had invaded. This made Luo Feng much colder and more brutal than before. However, the moment he heard the news, Luo Feng felt his blood boil from head to toe. I have a child, I have a child. That excitement filled his soul. Soon there's still 8 more months. My body will be successfully nurtured. When that time comes, I can return to see them. Far away in the Pacific Ocean, Luo Feng, who had transformed into the golden horned beast, was extremely excited. And the various countries' media were all reporting on these 2 newly born children. Firstly, the Luo family had Luo Feng's inheritance. Their wealth was comparable to a country's. Secondly, the genes of these 2 children were definitely good, their futures were limitless. Thirdly, the sacrifice of 8 heroes, the birth of these 2 children, the meaning behind it was even more special. Year 2060, November 22nd, morning. Ping Ping and Little Hai Be Good. Su Xian, who was wearing a white sweater, lovingly kissed the 2 babies in her arms. The 2 babies looked at their mother with their small black eyes, giggling and stretching their little hands. Luo Hongguo and Gong Xanlan smiled as they received the two babies. Su Xan will bring Ping Ping and Little Hai to walk around the district. Gong Xanlan smiled. All right, Mom. Su Xan nodded. Watching as her parents left with the two babies, Su Xan gently closed the door and walked to the balcony of the bedroom. Beside the balcony was a study table, on it was a laptop. Su Xan sat on the chair, the warm winter sun shone on her body, it was very comfortable. Su Xan smiled, moving the chair to sit in front of the study table. She took out a pen and paper from the drawer. Since young, under the education of my family, I've always held myself to the highest standards. And, finally I've fallen in love with leading a group of employees, starting my own business, fighting for the world. However, fighting for my own business is very tiring. Luckily I have Luo Feng. When I'm by Luo Feng's side, I don't feel any pressure. He'll shield me from the wind and rain, allowing me to wholeheartedly start my business. I really enjoy these days and I also want to continue like this forever. It's just, I didn't expect. I don't blame anyone. But really, I don't have any meaning in this world anymore. What is the point of living? Love? Family? Career? I don't know. Luo Feng isn't here, love has already left me, career? The bitterness of my career, I have no one to tell, the success of my career, no one to share with me. Without him by your side, even if you succeed in your career, it will pale in comparison. There will be no cheers. Whenever I dream of it in the middle of the night, I often cry. Finally, I made my decision. I feel very relaxed and relaxed. My mind has never felt so empty before. Dad, Mom, big brother, father-in-law, mother-in-law, don't be sad because I'm very happy right now. After she finished writing, she put down the pen and looked up. Through the window, she saw Luo Hongguo and his wife holding their two babies. The children were smiling happily. Little Hai, Ping Ping. Su Xan said softly, you're only 2 months old, you still don't know much. I'm sure that when you grow up, you won't have any memories of the present. Su Xan opened the laptop beside her and played a song. It was an old song from before the Grand Nirvana period. The second and minute hands ticked in my heart. My eyes twinkled so empty. My heart thumped. I asked myself, how much do I love you? That mellow and empty voice, with a bit of shyness, echoed around the room. This was an old song from before the Grand Nirvana period. Fei Wang's I Want to Marry You Tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to marry you. The music echoed around the room. Su Xan also softly hummed a tune as she walked to the wardrobe beside her and took out a wedding dress. Dress up for herself. Wear the wedding dress. Su Xan hummed a little as she smiled sweetly. She grew up in a competitive environment in a big family. Only when she met Luo Feng did she completely lose the pressure of competition. Luo Feng was like a tall mountain, a big tree shielding her from the wind and rain. Su Xan didn't like her old home. That home was filled with worldly desires, money and competition. She liked the life she had with Luo Feng, doing what she liked and sharing it with the people she loved. Sharing bitterness with her lover. Sharing happiness with her lover. Such blissful days. And now, Luo Feng's departure made her feel like the world had turned black and white. There were no other colors. What's the point of fighting? What's the point of working hard? No one cheers for victory. No one talks about the pain. Dressed like a bride, wearing a wedding dress, Su Xan smiled as she quietly laid on the bed. Haunting all my dreams. Tomorrow I'm going to marry you. Tomorrow I'm finally going to marry you. The sweet music flowed into one's soul. Su Xan took out a small porcelain bottle from the side and poured out 2 pills. She smiled as she gently ate them. Then she drank some water and swallowed them. She closed her eyes. Su Xan, who was wearing a wedding dress, quietly laid on the bed. Her finger was still rubbing the ring on her ring finger, a steel wire ring. The music continued to reverberate. She wore the pendant that Luo Feng gave her on her neck. The engravings on the surface of the silver pendant faintly glowed. The glowing glowed and the silver pendant slowly floated up. At the same time, a dreamy white light shone down and enveloped Su Xan's body. Su Xan, who was wearing a white wedding dress, was enveloped in the white light like an angel. Suddenly, the silver pendant actually started to crack open. Immediately, the white light became even denser. Without a sound, the silver pendant completely turned into nothingness. The dense white light merged into Su Xan's body. Su Xan's skin became sparkling and translucent. It was even more lustrous than before. Beautiful. Breathtakingly beautiful. All of the white light that floated down was completely absorbed by Su Xan. And on the surface of Su Xan's body, there seemed to be a layer of light. This scene lasted for 26 minutes. The light on the surface of her body completely merged into her body. Everything returned to normal. The entire room. Incomparably quiet. Su Xan was still calmly lying on the bed as if nothing happened. Suddenly, her eyelashes moved and she opened her eyes. At the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, a pile of metal wreckage was piled at the bottom of the ocean. A golden horned beast with a body length of 280 m stood beside the wreckage. Its huge dark golden eyes were filled with coldness and savagery. It extended its claws and a formless space ripple enveloped the surrounding area. Immediately, the pile of metal wreckage disappeared. LuoFeng, LuoFeng. Babata's clear voice resounded. It seemed extremely anxious. What's the matter? LuoFeng asked. It's Su Xan. Su Xan has committed suicide. Babata shouted. What? LuoFeng felt his mind go blank. His head was filled with blood. The golden horned beast's dark golden eyes suddenly became extremely bright. Anger and anxiety were hidden within. You can't joke about this. I'm not joking. It's true. Babata said. You bastard. Didn't you say Su Xian would definitely be fine? I said before that I would use the internet to let you imitate my voice and communicate with Su Xian to calm her down. What did you say? You said Su Xian wouldn't believe me. She would only think that it was the AI I left behind before I died. Without seeing me in person she wouldn't believe me. Alright, I admit that what you said made sense. However, you promised me that Su Xian would definitely be fine. Now. Luo Feng's mind was about to explode. Don't be anxious. Babata saw Luo Feng so angry. He knew he went overboard with his joke. I'm not done yet. She's not dead, she's not dead. Luo Feng was stunned. What's going on? Luo Feng was a little angry. It's like this. Su Xian has indeed committed suicide. Her body's functions are completely destroyed. Her soul is about to dissipate. However, the couple's safety talisman I gave you back then saved her. I don't know if she was unlucky or lucky to have done so. This couple's safety talisman's true name is Eternal Love. Babata said. Eternal Love? Even though Luo Feng had inherited the memories, he didn't know what Eternal Love was. You don't know about Eternal Love. Do you know about Eternal Body? Babata said. Understood. Luo Feng said. A human's lifespan. For example, a star traveler's lifespan is a little over 1,000 years. A star traveler's lifespan is 1 era. A universe traveler's lifespan is 10 eras. A domain lord's lifespan is 100 eras. A sector lord's lifespan is 1,000 eras. Only by becoming an undying warrior can one be immortal. Jumping from the student level 9 to the star traveler level is a leap in one's level of life. Jumping from the star traveler level 9 to the star traveler level is also a leap in one's level of life. Every level is a leap in one's life essence. And within the same level, for example a star traveler level 1 and a star traveler level 9, the difference in power is a few hundred times. However, their life essence is the same and their lifespan is the same. When one's life essence leaps, the entire body's genes will undergo a heaven and earth shattering change. This is the body's evolution. A human soul can live for a very, very long time. Normally, it can last for 1,000 years. However, the body's nature has its limits. No matter how good the medical treatment is, one will eventually die of old age. A star traveler's body can last for a little over 1,000 years. A star traveler's body can last for an era. Until a sector lord. A sector lord has an internal world. With the internal world absorbing energy from the outside world and supplying it to the body won't age. At this point, lifespan depends on the soul. The soul's limit is 1,000 eras. Hence, a sector lord's lifespan is 1,000 eras. Only a transcendent sector lord, reaching the evolution of the soul essence. Only then can one be eternal. Star traveler, star level, universe level, domain lord, sector lord. The evolution of life essence is the most important. And from sector lord to undying is the evolution of the soul. In the vast universe, there are some strange races that are born with an eternal body. Their bodies will never age. Only when their souls die of old age will they die. Their bodies are known as the eternal body. The universe is fair. Bestowing them with natural eternal bodies, it also prevents them from ever being able to train and improve. If they want to train, they have to abandon their original bodies and undergo the possession. Babata said, even though they can't train the temptation of the eternal body, Luo Feng, just think about it and you'll understand. For example, some undying's children are universe level, their lifespan may only be 10 eras. They would definitely be willing to give up their children's souls to obtain the eternal body. Luo Feng nodded. Without being able to raise their strength, being able to live up to 1,000 eras, which was 1,008 to 1,000 years, was also extremely tempting. The undyings in the universe, or a few powerful countries, use various methods to research the eternal bodies of the races. Finally, they extract a special genetic substance from the eternal body. After that, they seal it in cold silver, becoming that little silver card, which is also the universe's extremely expensive eternal love. After all, one eternal body can only be extracted once. Babata said. Luo Feng immediately understood. Races with natural eternal bodies were probably very pitiful in the universe. In the universe there are many with power and influence. Lifespan is something countless people chase after. The possession technique is one, however, it's very precious and also very hard to train. Luo Feng, you relied on your teacher's inherited soul imprint to change your soul, and with your teacher's inheritance, you were able to use the possession technique. Babata said, to obtain the possession technique and learn it, it's no less difficult than buying an eternal love. And the body that is possessed is usually weaker than the original body. Babata said. The most important thing is the possession has its risks, you may even end up dying. It's not as good as eternal love. One eternal love can directly change the original body into an eternal body. Of course, after becoming an eternal body, one can no longer train. Babata said, to train one has to abandon the eternal body and enter another body. That special genetic substance can only be extracted from natural eternal bodies. Like Su Xian's modified eternal body, there's no way to extract it again. Babata said. Right. Otherwise, a modified eternal body that has lived for 10 million years would die soon. Getting someone to extract the genetic substance again? That's simply a dream. You're saying that Su Xian has 1,000 years of lifespan? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask. Yes, and her body is immortal. The only way to kill her is to destroy her soul. Babata said, although eternal love is precious, with your identity as a teacher, storing a few copies of eternal love is not difficult. It was actually your teacher who arranged for you to wear eternal love before he died. Even if your physical body is destroyed, you can rely on eternal love to reform your broken body, and it will still gather together. This is a life-saving trump card. However, I'm worried that with eternal love, you won't have a sense of danger and won't be able to train yourself. That's why I didn't tell you about eternal love's effect. But I didn't expect you to abandon your physical body and use a soul attack. Not even eternal love can save you. Luo Feng laughed and let out a breath of relief. Fortunately, it was a blessing in disguise. After all, Luo Feng was very clear. Su Xian couldn't even become a fighter. Even with the spirits of nature, Muya crystals and countless treasures, reaching the Star Traveler level was the limit. But now, even though he couldn't cultivate, he had an eternal body. Yangzhou City's Mingyue district, Luo Feng's house. Su Xian sat in front of her desk, stunned. What's going on? Su Xian's mind was in a mess. Suddenly, a notification popped up on the laptop screen that there was a new email. And the weird thing was, the message automatically opened. Su Xian, it's me, Luo Feng. The first line of words made Su Xian stunned, creasing her eyebrows. She was very clear that many of the top people on Earth had AIs, Luo Feng too. Some letters, phone calls, videos etc. It was hard for her to believe because her brother Su Gang had done such things before. I know you're suspicious, however, you just committed suicide. The protective amulet I gave you should have worked, hence you're alive again. And the protective amulet should have disappeared. Su Xian was stunned, immediately touching her chest and looking down. Indeed, the protective amulet was gone, only the buckle was left. This made Su Xian reveal a look of shock and joy. Knowing that she had just committed suicide and that she was alive again, could it really be Luo Feng? Luo Feng didn't die? I know you're suspicious, however, 6 months, I should return home in 6 months, the latest is 7 months. Alright, remember, don't do anything stupid. Luo Feng. After reading the message, Su Xian felt as though her dried-up heart had been filled with a spirit spring. The black and white world suddenly became colorful, the future suddenly filled with hope. Maybe it's true, maybe it's true. The matter of dying and reviving obviously made Su Xian believe it more. 6 months, the latest is 7 months? I want to tell father and mother, tell Luo Hua and the others this good news. Su Xian was extremely excited. That day when Luo Feng's family saw the message, even though they were all shocked by Su Xian's suicide, they all said that Su Xian. However, the contents of the message filled the entire family with hope. Even though they suspected that the AI system was faking it, they still waited for 6 months. Year 2061, March 9th, night. Night fell. Luo Feng's family were all at home eating dinner, laughing. Dad, Mom, don't rush me, it's rare for me to return home for a meal and you're already rushing me. Alright, I'll tell you, this summer vacation, Jinan and I will go get our marriage certificate. Luo Hua laughed. As of now, Luo Hua had gotten another house in the Mingyue district. After all, his wife-in-law was living here, it wouldn't be good for him to stay at home. And with his status, getting a house was simple. What's more, he was a fighter too. That's more like it. Luo Hongguo and Gong Xianlan laughed. The two babies in the stroller beside were crawling around, laughing foolishly. Why isn't Su Xian back yet? Gong Xianlan couldn't help but look outside. Right now little Xian is focused on her work, it's a good thing. Luo Hongguo laughed. Gong Xianlan nodded after hearing that. Right, if she were to commit suicide again, it would be troublesome. Suddenly, Luo Hongguo and Gong Xianlan's eyes immediately dimmed. Put-on. The bodyguards in the yard all fell to the ground, the two nannies in the kitchen also fell to the ground. Luo Hongguo and Gong Xianlan lowered their heads on the table, not moving at all. Complete silence. Only the sounds of the two babies could be heard in the villa. Who? Luo Hua looked outside coldly. Mr. Luo, how are you? Two men dressed in black suits smiled as they walked in, as though they were walking in their own home. One of them was white, the other looked like a South Asian. The South Asian smiled. Don't worry, they were only momentarily hypnotized by me, I didn't kill them. 2 representatives have graced us with your presence, what's the matter? Luo Hua said solemnly. Nothing much, I'm just taking a few things that belong to star travelers, things normal mortals don't have the right to use. The South Asian smiled. Don't worry, I won't kill anyone, however. I hope you can stay calm. The moment you order the metal robot, I can only make these people. Peng? The South Asian made an exaggerated expression. Their souls will all explode. Seigo Neru, you're Earth's only star traveler level spirit reader, is there a need to do such a thing? Luo Hua said solemnly. He was very clear, no matter how fast the metal robot was, it couldn't compare to a spirit reader's thoughts. Seigo Neru. India's spirit reader genius, ever since Luo Feng and Eastbourne fell, this Seigo Neru who had just broken through became the only star traveler level spirit reader. There's a need, of course there's a need. Seigo Neru smiled. Mr. Luo, the current global situation, I'm sure you know a little. You think, just because your Luo family has the treasures left behind by Luo Feng, you can stay out of this? What's more, leaving these treasures with your Luo family is a waste. Muya crystals? Seigo Neru revealed a smile. They were actually hidden in the basement? Oh, 18 Muya crystals? And quite a few spirits of nature? What a huge sum, no wonder it was left behind by Luo Feng. Seigo Naru exclaimed. Luo Hua's expression was ashen. He understood the opponent used his spirit energy to find them. How do we control the metal robot? Seigo Naru looked at Luo Hua. No one can control the metal robot. Luo Hua shook his head. Even I can't. My brother's orders were to protect the Luo family. It will always obey my brother's orders. Oh. Seigo Naru nodded. He could understand. The basement door automatically opened. A locked chest floated out. Seigo Naru extended his hand to catch it. Thanks. Seigo Naru smiled. Let me give you a piece of advice. The more power you have, the more treasures you'll have. Otherwise, as for that robot, it's powerful. But it's still just a robot. Oh, even if we're a few hundred meters apart, I can still destroy your family's souls in an instant. Hence, don't do anything stupid. Wei Nua, let's go. Seigo Naru turned and left. Representative Wei Nua followed beside him. Luo Hua watched Representative Wei Nua and Seigo Naru leave. He didn't dare make any movements. The disc-shaped fighter jet was only 300 m away from his house. Even on the jet, Seigo Naru's spirit energy attacks could instantly kill everyone in the Luo family. Bastard. Standing in front of the window, watching the disc-shaped fighter jet leave, Luo Hua's expression was ugly. Luckily he had split the 60 Muya crystals into a few portions, hiding them in different places. And 18 Muya crystals to the representatives was already very shocking. After all, Hong, Thunder God and the rest only managed to get more than 10 Muya crystals. What happened just now? What happened to me? His bodyguards, Nanny and Luo Hong's parents had all awoken. Luo Hua comforted them, not telling them the truth. There was no other way. Luo Hua could only endure. Against fighters, the metal robots could intercept them faster. However, against spirit readers' soul attacks, the metal robots couldn't intercept them in time. And the conversations that happened, the metal robots automatically transmitted it to Babata. Naturally Luo Feng knew about it too. Wei Nua? Seigo Naru? The over 300 m long golden horned beast in the raging sea, its dark golden eyes burning with rage. Babata, you said there with the fifth chairman Akin. Akin, that coward, he's always kept a low profile. During the swallowing monster incident, he didn't even show his face. Now he's so ambitious. Back then I looked down on him, now. Akin. Naru. Luo Feng was furious. He was already feeling guilty about not being able to see his family before. He didn't expect Akin and his group to be so ambitious. They actually used his family's lives to threaten him. No matter how furious he was, Luo Feng had to endure. Even though the days he endured felt like years. Finally, the first body was successfully nurtured. Year 2061 June 2nd, was the day Luo Feng hatched from his shell.